You're looking at footage of motion capture, which demonstrates Gestalt, a perception theory where the mind creates results separate than the sum of its parts. For example, if you were to look at a tree, you wouldn't see a collection of leaves, branches, trunk, and roots. You'd see a tree, a single concept. Gestalt can be seen everywhere in life, in movement, in facial recognition, and quite strongly in art. Post-Impressionism and the art of Vincent van Gogh work this way, where the individual brushstrokes and the use of color mean very little on their own, but when viewed as a whole, you get a sense of an image. I find it complimentary then that the plot of Loving Vincent gives us glimpses of the artist's life and leaves the interpretation to the viewer.
Did you see it coming?
He was happy here. I honestly thought he was.
The film has received attention for its inventive animation technique, painting every single frame and photographing the movement. And of course it has, it's gorgeous. Every part of it ebbs and flows, rich in color and composition. But the plot to me is just as compatible.
I just wanted to deliver a letter.
From a dead man to a dead man, I understand.
So, what brings you to over there?
A friend of my father's, Vincent van Gogh. We just found out he killed himself.
He stayed here.
Oh no.
The pitfall of most biopics is that the plot bounces from key moment to key moment in somebody's life, and everything in between is either biding time or invented. What's brilliant though is that Loving Vincent does exactly that. The plot is fictional. Armand is biding time in Auvers to speak to Dr. Gachet.
The doctor's in Paris. He won't be back till tomorrow.
And the reality of Vincent's life is presented as memories of the people he speaks to. But when I'm with Armand on his flexible detective adventure, I don't feel like I'm eager to be anywhere else. I'm thinking about Vincent the way that he is. We're presented with the perspective of, well, anyone. Armand represents anyone who stumbles across the life of Vincent and the information is contradictory.
Did you know he was a genius?
And that's well and good, he was mad.
We liked him. He was a nice, quiet man.
He looked like he was all right.
He was evil.
Is that a medical opinion?
We're not confined to a dramatized life of Vincent van Gogh, wavering between fact and fiction. We're offered perspective in our own interpretation of events.
Now you're down there like that, and now look. You see? There. What? Now, you see, that's too low an angle.
For what? Truth is so elusive, but what can be said about a sense of truth? When a thought is expressed or a story is told, you're not exactly sure where it lands in the scheme of things, whether the recipient is of sound mind, sober.
And you've been quenching that thirst, I suppose.
Or whether someone pictures things the way you intend. Art is like that, uncontrollable. You never know who will come across it, what they'll think about it, or how their thoughts will change. Reality is presented in abstraction. It's personal, it's opinionated, it's faulty, and the only way to find objective truth is to add up all the pieces and hope it makes sense. And isn't that the point of Impressionism? Blue outlines don't exist in real life, but isn't there something enriching when it's combined with other colors? Contrasting red and green, blue and yellow, or finding green strokes in faces. The use of oil painting actually serves as a flexible medium. It doesn't vaporize, it oxidizes slowly, making it easy to scrape off so the frame can move. When I watched Loving Vincent for the first time, I wondered if the characters were painted separately from the backgrounds, because the thought of pushing and pulling paint around a character's movements seemed like a nightmare, but that's how it is.
It is as difficult as you think it's going to be, and they actually have to paint every single frame.
Now, on the surface, it's a crazy idea, but it was starting to make a lot of sense to me.
The background conforms to the movements of the character, leaving the background subject to change. Change is inevitable. Vincent painted blossoms on dry paint long after flowers had fallen. The filmmakers did the same when they discovered quite factually that Vincent had cut off all of his ear, not just a part of it, and they repainted scenes in the film. When the background swirls around the characters, we're witnessing their traces, their temporary footsteps. If the film is anything, it's the legacy of Vincent van Gogh. What better way to show that than for all the characters to leave something behind? In this way, we can see ghosts, memory, past, remaining after someone is gone.
This is where he lived.
And where he died.
Vincent's death is imprinted on his paintings, sorrow, poverty, and loneliness wrapped up in his style. Suicide is hard to understand.
Vincent had killed himself? Why do you find that so hard to believe?
But his depression is obvious.
You're familiar with melancholia, are you?
Didn't say so.
Sufferers can change from feeling life is a wondrous joy to being stuck in a pit of despair within 6 hours. So, think what changes are possible within 6 weeks.
You can try to look at his childhood, look at his friends, look at the way he was treated, look at circumstances, look at his illness, but if you really knew, would it help? The grief would remain. Who's to blame then?
You think there was some argument with my father and that's why Vincent is dead? You think it's my father's fault, do you?
Oh, I didn't say that.
Who's at fault for the collateral damage left in Vincent's wake?
Turning your back, just like with Vincent.
Oh, what did you do for him? Huh? I don't hear you telling me that. Were you such a great friend?
I never said I was.
Well, no one.
So lonely Vincent resorts to hanging around with drunken teenagers and he gets shot. Or he shoots himself in despair at his lonely life. The result is the same.
The truth is, we'll never know Vincent. We'll never know how he felt. We can read his letters, we can study his paintings, but we'll never have the answers. So would the film be worth anything if it weren't painted? Probably not. It's well written, well conceived, but it's the medium, the love letter, that propels the film forward. When I watch biographies, there's always that thought in the back of my mind that says, did it really happen like that? But hopefully you walk away with a sense of truth, a better understanding of life or art.
I really hope that people will like the film, that in some small way someone, I'll be able to introduce Vincent to more people. That is one of my dreams, and maybe it will inspire some people to read his letters or see his paintings in the flesh, because he deserves it.